Hey, hi. So we're catching each other. You're catching me. I'm sitting down in front of you at this sort of odd, awkward, and raw moment where I have worked my first week. I'm totally overwhelmed, but not necessarily in a bad way. And am looking forward to the week ahead. So, yeah, and so I thought I would give you a little bit of a life update. I want to tell you though, so I can kind of reframe my own brain, that I'm so grateful to be sitting down with you and to be chatting with you. In full disclosure, I have tried to talk before, but I was like, let me do it while I'm painting my nails. And that was a mistake because I just couldn't, it was like too many things. I couldn't even like paint my nails and talk to you all because the brain wasn't braining. And that is okay. So if you're new, I'm Shelly. I love books and reading. Sometimes I update you about my life. And that's really what this is. And I'm excited to talk to you today. If you're not yet subscribed and you're enjoying this hot mess, I would encourage you to do so. Subscribe, not enjoy, well, and enjoy the hot mess. It's up to you. But without any further rambling on, let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Something that really helped me several years ago when I actually jumped back into work after COVID, I was making videos actually. But Ted had told me, my husband had told me that when you're starting a new workplace and a new work routine, your brain is actually creating new neural pathways, and that work is exhausting. So if you're extra exhausted the first couple of weeks in your new job, that it's okay because your brain is actually working extra hard to understand like where to park every day. I mean, that's a new neural pathway, where to park, the drive, who you're going to see along the way. And really a couple weeks in, all those little tiny routines that we take for granted, they settle. Like in most workplaces, you arrive around the same time and you know exactly who just pulled in before you, who's going to pull in after you, who you're going to see on the way in, where the coffee machine is. That's my big thing. Who I'm going to say hi to. Typically, the routine is there and it's established in your mind. Of course, then you're okay with variation, but when you're brand new to everything, everything is new. And everything is a variation, and you're just trying, your poor brain and your poor self is trying to process what the new schedule is going to look like. And I definitely deeply feel that this week, and I've worked a couple different jobs while being on YouTube, out in the world, and each time the first 2 to 3 weeks are the most exhausting. I would say up to even 5 weeks in, it's so tiring because everything is brand new. And as a teacher, it's not just like you come in and you check your email. It's like even the students are new, and the routines that you're building, and how to log in grades and all that kind of stuff. So I've been trying to extend to myself grace while also live my life and trying to do my job well. So having said that, this week, the true heroes of everything, my whole life, were my parents. My parents were amazing. They just moved across the country to a small town a few hours away from me. And it was the first time since having my children. And my kids are 7 and 9. That I could say, Mom and Dad, can you please come down and watch the kids while I go back to work, so that Ted and I can both go back to work without having to pay for daycare or childcare or a summer camp or something like that, that my parents are going to be here to take care of them. And my parents are amazing. They're energetic. My dad is really handy, so he's always asking for a list of repairs so that he can repair things. My mom is super creative and just great. Like, they're both great with kids. My mom is often the driving force to like get out of the house or go on a walk. She's very energetic. And so they're just like, and it's like their grandparents. It's the best place for them to be, to build those family bonds, at least, for me. And I'm incredibly blessed in that way. So my parents came down, and I think up until they came down, I was even filming videos. So in my mind, I was like, that's future Shelly's problem. And that was kind of my motto until they came. I had the day before, I think I stopped filming videos on a Saturday, and I was like, okay, now it's time to get everything ready. So got this room ready, which is a guest room, and just the sheets and cleaning the bathroom extra good and getting things ready. I mean, just rearranging the room so that it's hospitable to guests, all of that kind of stuff. I did on, I think, Saturday afternoon. Maybe that was it. And then they came on Sunday. And so they arrived, and it was great, and we, got to hang out with them. And just like I did with my parents, I also did with my work. So I have a little bit of a drive. It's about 35-minute drive. And I've driven to that area before. And like theoretically in my mind, I know what time I need to leave to get there on time. But that doesn't, I'll just be real with you. I ran behind the first 3 days this week. And even when I was on time, like Monday I was late, Tuesday I was on time, but I didn't know where we were meeting. And so I'm like trying to figure out the campus and the abbreviations. And you know what? And because I was like ever so slightly behind, I didn't catch anyone in the parking lot, and I'm looking around for everybody. And so, I'm walking in late, and I was like, you know what? I have an option. I could make myself feel horrible for not being prepared or not being overly prepared or not leaving my house earlier. But instead, I'm going to give myself grace and not feel at least too bad about my timeliness. And you know what? I got it together. I was very on time on Thursday, and I was very on time on Friday, and I suspect that I will be very on time moving forward. So that was like a hurdle. And on top of all of just figuring out the drive, because again, that's like a new routine, I also, sickness hit the household. This is why I said my parents are heroes, because the stomach bug hit myself and both my boys, and Ted had a head cold, something totally separate from both of us. And we were all miserable. I mean, I don't know. Myself and the boys, we're not really miserable in spirit. Actually, Ted really isn't either. It's like our spirits are not miserable, but our bodies and our bodies are clearly sick. So yes, I did not escape the stomach bug. It was really quick for me. It was like super fast. But for my youngest, it really hit him the hardest. It was not good. So here my parents are cleaning up. My only grandparents would ever clean up. Like, only a parent should ever clean up, to be honest with you. And they were really just amazing. It was like all hands on deck, and they really didn't mind just hanging out and reading or watching TV, just to make sure that my boys got the rest that they needed. And the thing that's so amazing is that as many of you are in the same situation, if you pay for childcare and your child gets sick, they can't go back for at least 24 hours or until whatever has passed and they are good and healthy for 24 hours. So even if we had paid for childcare of some kind, the likelihood that we would have to have them pulled out of childcare and then Ted or I would have been home, either sick ourselves or recovering or just missing days of work, which we're both we get kind of grumpy about. So my parents, they were just amazing. It was great. And I think I got actually video footage of my first couple of outfits for the day. And that quickly stopped because I had a very early day. On Wednesday, we had a conference in Charleston, South Carolina, and we had to leave really early, and we got back kind of late. And the rest of the week was just like busy, but not in a bad way. And sort of in broad strokes, everyone I'm working with is awesome. Everyone seems really just, I've just been bonding with a lot of people. I don't want everyone. I don't know. Have I met even everyone? I have, but have I had a conversation with everyone? Probably not. But those who I have met and those who I have spent time with, they've been very understanding and very understanding of my questions and caring for one another. And I'm just really grateful to be at the school that I'm at. And personnel wise, I feel like I scored. Like, I feel like it's golden. It's been really, really good. I'll just hit some high notes of some of the things I did in the library. I just took some pictures of things that are on the walls. I did a bulletin board. It was something like, let's get booked for a good school year or something, or for a great school year. I think that's what it is. Or let's get yourself booked. Get booked for a great school year. I think that's what it was. And I was asked an interesting question about, does it hurt my soul to rip a book apart? And these books were already discarded from our library catalog. And the thing is that if there's a lot of reasons why you would want to weed a library. Actually, having too many books is a problem. Really, you need to have like the right amount of resources so that it's abundant, but it's not overwhelming. That's part of the librarian's job, is to maintain the resources that they're up to date, but also that there is like sort of something for everyone, but also not too much, because then you run into things like space issues, or just even like physical, like trying to pull a book out of the shelves. If they're too tight, that could deter someone from wanting to check out a book, or just having too many choices. That can be an issue as well. There are whole varieties of reasons. So the library that I'm currently in is going through some processes of refining their collection. And so there was a cart of books that had been well loved and well read, or just have in some ways expired, like they're books that aren't read anymore. And anyway, so books were weeded for one reason or another. Some people get really upset about when it comes to weeding books. And I remember particularly in graduate school that somebody in the forums, and we had to talk because I did graduate school mostly on an online program. And so, we would talk to each other in discussion forums with certain topics. And I remember it was a very emotional post saying that he was so upset that his boss was getting rid of certain media, and he begged her not to, and all this stuff. And I was just like, oh, I just didn't know that somebody would be so emotional about sort of getting rid of certain items. So when I was asked this, I was like, no. I mean, I'm not maybe I am. I'm not quite joyous when I'm taking apart books. However, when one is getting rid of a book, the vast likeliness that one is just getting rid of the physical object rather than the contents of the story is very, 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 very high. So, it's just the book that it's a common book. There are 4 more copies in the library. What I am using as for part of my bulletin board is just simply a book that has been well read and well loved, and now is honestly sort of bringing down the aesthetic value of the library because it's so worn out, and because it really shouldn't be on the shelves anymore. So there's that. So I thought that was an interesting question that I got to answer. And what else? Oh, so moving forward, I'm okay, so I've gotten the drive more or less figured out. I have 2 more days of work without students, and without my own kids, because Ted's staying home and all of that. And I have a couple of days, and starting on Wednesday, I'll start seeing students. Oh, and I have some books to show you at the end. I'll show you that. And so I'm like, what do I do in order to feel like I'm resting, but taking care of what I need to take care of, and feeling like I'm prepared for the week ahead? Because, active rest would not be sitting around lesson planning for the whole weekend. Nor would active rest be just reading all weekend. I mean, both are productive in their own ways, but I need some sort of balance, right? So what I did was that I ordered groceries, but I had a very scripted meal plan. Now, what I like to do is I like to cook what I want to cook. I just have all of the ingredients for the following meals. So I'll actually even post it right here if you want to see what my meal plan looks like. And it's mostly dinners. Lunches are pretty well taken care of, and breakfasts are really easy. There are lots of grab and go, lots of toast. protein shake for me kind of thing. So I was really glad to sit down and really critically think about what I wanted to make for dinner, meal plan it out, order the groceries so that I'm prepared for the week. And then, moving forward, I just have to execute the meals, but I don't have to think about or run to the grocery store to, get what I need. So that is done. I might actually do some outfit planning. Usually if I plan for 5 days, by the third day, I'm like, okay, the last 2 days, I don't want to wear that. So I might just get together like 7 options and that way I'll feel a little more ready for the week ahead. But meal planning was good. Oh, I also reset my kitchen, or tried to, just putting some things away. Just whenever you have guests, things sort of find homes in different spots, or they get left out because, my parents don't want to just put away certain things that they don't know where it goes. And then now for me, they're lost. And then before I show you books, I'll just tell you that I also, this past week, partly because we had guests and partly because I went back to work, I haven't been reading that much this week. And again, it's sort of this decision of, am I going to beat myself up about it, or am I going to give myself grace? And I'm going to choose the latter because I think it's the better option for everybody. But I also have gone through this several times, and I try and not freak out, but I also try and keep my eyes on the prize, I don't know how to say it. So I try and not freak out when reading changes, but I also try kind of hard, I guess, to make sure that I still am reading, because I don't want to lose that all together. And not that I think that I would, but so many things are grabbing for our attention that I think often we can, get swept away doing something else. And I don't want to get swept away doing something else. I want to continue to read. So I'm still reading the way we live now. Oh my gosh, can't even think about it. The Way We Live Now. And I'm still reading American Wife by Curtis Sittenfeld. The Way We Live Now is by Anthony Trollope. There's something about Sittenfeld's writing that is just mesmeric. It is like my kind of reading. There's just something about her writing that is amazing. It's actually kind of close to Anne Patchett, but that's probably the closest. I don't know. But Sittenfeld is more long-winded, but not in any way that I mind. And I'm really loving American Wife. It's so good. It is based off of Laura Bush. So I'm reading that, and it's just taken me a little bit longer, and that's okay. I'm sure I'll get my groove back, because I know that my brain is working extra hard learning all these new things and trying to process things in new ways. So I'm okay with the changing relationship of reading while still wanting to feel, at least in my soul, that it is an important part of my life. Let me show you the books. So Ted, I wanted to show you this. Ted actually bought this, The Way Things Work by David McCulley. I guess apparently he had this as a kid and loved it, and he bought it for our kids. And it really shows you everything. This is how a windmill works, the sewing machine, mirrors, and an endoscope. Ted remembers this from his childhood, and so he wanted it for us. All right, and then in little lending libraries and such, I picked up this Marion Engelbreit. Is it Engelbreit? I think that's what it is. Art and Artist. And this is so emblematic of a certain time period, but I quite like her illustrations. I think that they are charming. So whether I flip through it and then put it back, I don't really know for sure what will happen between myself and this book, but I thought it was great. There is something about her art that is very distinct, but also not overly complex. Or so I say right now, until I actually try and duplicate it, and then I realize, oh my gosh, this is so much harder than I thought. Final book is a book that my friend Dia at the channel Novel Idea says I would love. So I saw it and I was like, I want that book. So I picked it up, and it's Kristen Laveren-Statter by Sigrid Undset. And I actually read, Sigrid Undset and Undset, who is Scandinavian author. I knew that. She and, oh my gosh, her name is the yearling. Okay. Marjorie and Rawlings. Sigrid and Marjorie were friends, and so I was curious. I'm like, Sigrid was a contemporary of Marjorie and Rawlings, and I read their yearling, and I read Marjorie and Rawlings' biography, and so I was like, okay, it is Sigrid Undset's turn, who won the Nobel Prize for Literature. This one is translated by Tina Nuali. So here's that, and yeah. That is it. That is my first week. So many of you are so sweet, and you're saying that you're going to miss 50 and 50, and to be honest, I'm going to miss it too. But I have a lot of takeaways that I want to bring to you. And yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do it as like a last day thing. I don't really know. I don't have things planned out here. I'm just going with what I'm going with and trying not to fail. With that said, just thank you so much for being here. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate you immensely. And I hope to see you all in my next one. Bye.